So walking is fabulous for that. So, yeah. Well, so yeah, do you have anything else or going on before we officially truly get started, Caroline?
Ooh, I don't know. We could just tell everybody we're talking about the 3 ways to cope and deal with the stress and anxiety that is, pretty present in our world right now, and pretty much everybody. But I mean, we deal with daily stressors in a day-to-day situation, life, traffic. So these things that we're talking about are going to help you in your day-to-day life. So
Exactly.
that's what me and Karin decide to get together and help people here.
For sure, because I work with people. Well, for those of you who may not know me or you don't know me very well, let's do an official introduction. Hey, what an idea! I am Karin Weary, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I have a private practice in Orange City, but do provide therapy online as well, which is extremely helpful these days, especially because people really need it now. So, but I also work from a very holistic standpoint because we're not just one thing or the other. And this is another reason why Caroline and I are coming together with this, because we are physical, we're spiritual, we're energy, we're emotional, and all of the above. So that's where Caroline and I came together. So tell
Yeah,
us a little bit about you.
so I'm Caroline Sequin. I'm the owner of Karen Hands Massage Therapy, and I specialize in releasing the stress and somebody physical stress, muscle tension, and then I specialize in myofascial release therapy. So what that does is you can get fascial restrictions, and that's like, for instance, a scar. So if you have a scar on the body, that's a fascial restriction, and that's pulling on your body all sorts of ways. So that can affect you physically, mentally, emotionally. It's amazing the kind of effects that can go on with just a fascial restriction in the body. So I work to release that, and that further empowers the person. They feel better in their body. They stand up straighter. And instead of just, always trying to maintain proper posture and not really being able to do so, we get down to the root of the problem and release it. And it's amazing. It's just amazing work. It's
Yeah.
very profound. So that's one of the things I really love to do.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Carolyn, whenever I hear you talk about your work, it's like hearing my experiences, but just through EMDR, because again, it goes to the root of the reason why people are having all of the problems that they're having. Is one of my biggest passions, and I think one of the visions I have for getting the word out is that I don't really like the word mental illness, because in my experience, there is some mental illness, but I would say 90% of what people call mental illness is really just life events that have added up, and they are now showing up as anxiety, depression, PTSD. And so when we can get to the reasons why that got built up and got to that place, then we can release that. So EMDR is a very profound way and very quickly for most people, and many times 3 to 6 sessions, to be able to help the mind release things that have happened. It's like getting the brain updated because it's been stuck in events that have happened in the past. So, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So it's amazing. The MDR is really quite profound. It's not your typical therapy session at all. So I
Right.
really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And
yeah.
having
Same with
been on the Caroline's table and have myofascial release, it's very gentle. And a lot of people, they're used to, you probably get a lot of requests. I hear people all the time when they're talking about massage, you got to get in there and, really, you know, force it out. But it's the complete opposite. And we don't always need force. I think many times if we're gentle, which is what myofascial release is all about, right, Caroline?
Yeah, actually, you're exactly right. With myofascial release therapy, the thought is that less is more.
Mm.
Less is more, and really it's about taking the time to allow things to release.
Yeah.
And and to allow the fascia to restructure. So that was,
Coach it out, right?
yeah, and
Lure it
less is
out.
more. You don't have to use force. You don't have to use a lot of muscles. I don't have to dig in, and really those little subtle things can be so profound and so monumental for my clients. It's just a total different approach to the body.
Yeah. So speaking of very subtle things that can have a profound effect, we're going to talk about stress in three different ways. We're going to talk about the emotional aspect of stress and managing it, and we're going to talk about a physical way of managing it, which will obviously be Caroline who's going to be talking about that. And then together we're going to be talking about natural supplements, because we can use support that in natural format, because we don't always get all that we need from the foods that we eat because of whatever the way things are. So let's just dive right in. And the first thing that I always like to talk about, which people have heard about it, but really truly many times doesn't get truly honored as, or I don't know, it seems too simple to be true, but truly breathing. Because what happens is a breath is the only part of our body functions that is both automatic and that we can have control over. And one of the first things that happens when we get stressed out, and it's, again, stress can be very, very subtle, because basically how our brain works is that the first information goes to two different places. It goes right back to the brain stem, which is our reptilian brain. It's not the intelligent part of our brain. It's just there to keep us alive, and it's just always checking out, am I safe or am I not? Am I safe or am I not? And the second fastest goes into our amygdala, which is part of our emotional brain. And that comes just a few seconds after the information has gone to our reptilian brain. So if the reptilian brain has already just found that, oh, we're in danger, and that could be anything from, oh my God, am I not going to have a paycheck this week? Or, oh my God, this person pulled out right in front of me. Am I going to die? You know, the brain doesn't know the difference between those two. And it interprets both of them the same way, unless we get to our executive brain functioning, which can then go ahead and determine, oh, I think we're going to be okay, or yeah, maybe we need to scrimp and save a little bit right now. But that's that part of that discrimination, that discerning, doesn't come until a little bit later. And again, if we have had a lifetime of events that have not been processed and they're stuck in our brain, it dysfunctionally, this is where people, they're in this, stuck in this stress cycle, fight, flight, or freeze place of basically survival mode the majority of the time. So, and that's when you see people getting really prickly or really anxious and very closed down and whatnot. And so with the breath, the first thing that happens, we begin to breathe very shallow. And sometimes I find for myself, even when I don't feel necessarily very stressed, because again, it can be so subtle, that all of a sudden I can go, it's like, wow, I'm barely breathing. Let me just take a nice deep breath in. And, and what we do when we take that nice, long, slow, deep breath in and bring it all the way down to our stomach, I usually like to breathe in through my nose and bring it all the way down to my stomach, and then slowly exhale. And even with just the first breath, I can already feel my body melting. And what we just did was we, through our breath, signaled our brain that it's okay. We don't have to go into emergency mode. And of course, our body needs oxygen. If our cells don't get oxygen, then then we're not going to do very well for very long. So, yeah. Okay. That's good, Stephanie. Stephanie is saying that she notices that too. And so just doing those couple of breaths, and then we can get everything steered back online. Now, one of the things that I have been reading up on lately, which is kind of a different way of looking at some of the things that I've been doing anyway, it's a different kind of research that's behind it, is I've been reading up on the Heart Math Institute. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but if you aren't, I highly recommend you go over there and you check out that information, because they have some really cool information, studies, research that they do. And I'll get into that in just a minute. So one thing that we know is that they have discovered is that our different parts of our bodies have, we're energy and we're frequency. So we're vibration, and everything vibrates at a different level. And so it's interesting, even in our words and how we describe things. So for example, when we feel depressed, I'm feeling down. Yeah, I'm feeling heavy. Well, that's a very low level vibration. And when we're feeling, up, we're happy, and we say things like, oh yeah, I'm feeling up and I'm high, and I'm this, that, and the other. And that's because it's a high vibration, it's a high frequency. And so it actually really happens that way. And they have figured out that now, with all these amazing scientific instruments that we can measure so many things, that we have a whole biosphere, and our heart has a biomagnetic field that can be measured up to 5 feet outside of our bodies. Yeah. So, so up to 5 feet outside of our bodies. So, when we say that we can feel that certain people have a certain vibe, we're literally feeling that vibe. It's no joke. And what they also found, that there's the heart is 100 times more powerful with regards to the energy field than our brain. And there's way more information that goes from the heart up to the brain, and that's all based on emotion. So, if somebody's trying to poo-poo emotions and, oh, you're so emotional and this, that, and the other, well, it does have a very powerful effect on everything that happens and how we do, and not just our state of mind, but it affects our physical being as well, including our health, because if we're in high levels of stress all the time, our body starts to break down, and it just goes downhill from there. Which, when we are flooded with information that scares us, which there is a lot of in the media and in the news, where I find that it become very discerning with how much I watch and when, and I can tell, I use my emotions as a barometer of when I need to tune in and when I need to tune out, because for me, it's more important for me to manage my emotions and keep myself more in a calm state of being and grounded, because when I'm in that state, our brain has a heart-brain coherence. And we're going to do something right here that's going to help you get to that heart-brain coherence. And what that means is that when we bring up a feeling of love, appreciation, or gratitude, and we hold that feeling over several minutes, and the longer the better. But what they found with the Heart Math Institute was that because they would measure the heart rate variability, our respiration, and our blood pressure. And so when they were looking at the markers and when they were measuring, and people would just, in whatever state of mind that they were, it was this squiggly line. And then they would instruct people to bring up a memory or a person, whatever it was that put them in the state of feeling love or feeling appreciation or gratitude, and then hold it, like freeze frame it. It's like snapshot. Oh yeah, this is, when I was in this place in the mountains, or my baby's smile, or whatever kind of thing. And you hold that, your favorite little puppy, and they're all fuzzy and soft and cute and silly and make you laugh. And when you hold that, I'm feeling it right now as I'm talking about, I don't have a puppy, but I'm feeling the puppy love. and you hold those feelings. What they found, after a couple minutes, all three of those measurements move into this beautiful sine wave, which means that at this point, now you've moved into heart-brain coherence. And again, what happens is now your brain is working in harmony. So your brain is now working at its optimal level. They're not worried about things that are going on out in the world, which means that we can now think creatively. We can think things outside the box. We tap into our own placebo effect, which is really important. We help boost our immune system. All these things that we really want to really always have, but especially now, it's become even more important that we stay in that state. And this is where we can, go ahead and become the driver of our emotions. This is some of the terms that I've been talking about lately. Rather than allowing our emotions to pull us in every which way, like we're this little sailboat out in the ocean in a wild storm. This is how so many people live their lives. And it's a horrible, stressful way to go through life. And so when we can become the captain or the driver, captain of the boat, or the driver of the car, and we decide when we need to shift gears. So when I was talking about the example of, I hear something and I can feel myself getting that wave of anxiety or fear or whatever kind of thing that's happening, I was like, okay, time for me to shift gears. I need to unplug from this information right now, because it's not about not paying attention to what's going on. It's about what is going to be helpful for you. So let's do this together right now, because I always like to have things be tangible. And so I want you guys to think of, again, like I said, it could be a particular memory that you have. It could be thinking about your child, or it could be your pet, your loved one, whatever it is, maybe a peak experience, a beautiful sunset, whatever. So I want you to go ahead and bring that up in your mind and hold it and really feel the feelings of the awe or the gratitude or the love and the appreciation. And then while we're doing that, let's take a couple of long, slow, deep breaths. Good. How are you guys feeling?
I feel wonderful. Yeah, that was really nice exercise.
Yeah, calmer. Yes. And you know what? It didn't take very long, did it? And this is the power and the beauty why I am so passionate about, if we can just learn how to use some of these techniques rather than run to the doctor and get, prescribed some sort of psychotropics, we're going to be so much better off, because those psychotropics have side effects and whatnot. And there are times where that is something that's a good thing to be. I feel like there are no limits. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. There are no limits, Stephanie. That's exactly it.
So Karen, just a quick question. So
Yes.
psychotropics don't take you to the beach while you're quarantined, do they?
They don't, but you know what? I love that you brought that up, because you know what? The cool thing about the brain is that the brain doesn't know the difference between whether you were actually there or you just brought that up. So whatever it was that you brought up in your brain, that was or is your reality. So we pick and choose what we want our reality to be. And yes, sometimes it can be, you might have to kind of arm wrestle with your brain to get where you want to be, but that's okay. Yeah. So, all right, we got some sort of emoji that I can't see here. That's okay. So yeah, heart-brain coherence is just absolutely powerful. So, Caroline, do you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah. So, I came up with actually about 4 ways because I figured something might get either overlapped or the one option is we may not have it available. So let me get into that. So number one thing, get active. Right now we're in the fight, flight, or freeze, which you brought up. So it's funny that we're both on the same page with this because we didn't really discuss that.
Well, anxiety is
And
all about fight, flight, or freeze.
it is, it
Yeah.
is. And you really went into depth with that, and it's very helpful. And like right now, what we're currently experiencing is you can't fight this virus. All you're armed with is toilet paper and hand sanitizer and washing your hands. You're like, you, you know, I can try to fight it off with a toilet paper roll or something.
Make yourself into a mummy. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
that'll do it.
the
Hmm?
mommy look. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're kind of stuck in this fight, flight, or freeze. So there's different ways what you can do to get out of that. And so aside from being able to go get a massage from me right now, walking, you mentioned walking, so I say get active, get moving, do something. Um, Go outside, uh, do whatever your favorite activity is, dancing, aerobics, whatever you can physically do. If you have limitations, keep that in mind. Uh, but really just work on getting active. Even like little things of lifting your feet up and down while you're sitting on the couch, and getting weights on the couch while you're watching Netflix, something. So move around, get active. And the reason for that too is that gets your blood flowing. So your blood needs to move. And what your blood cells do is they'll clean out, and it's like spring cleaning in your house. So the blood's always going on and it's cleaning out the cellular waste and oxygenating your brain and so on. So that is essential. Also, it's essential for your immune health. A large part of your immunity is the lymphatic system, and so that's based on you moving. It doesn't have a motor like the heart to pump it. So your lymphatic system is kind of like the blood flow going around the body, but you have lymph fluid going around the body, and you have your lymph nodes, like in your neck and your groin and so on. And those are points where they take care of any invaders like viruses, bacteria, funguses, anything that's attacking the body, they go in and take care of. So you need to stay moving, and that's one way to keep your immune system up, especially as going outside, soaking up that vitamin D from the sun. That's another aspect of your immunity. So there's multiple reasons why I tell people to move. You feel better, you feel in action, you feel like you can do something, because you're stuck with that fight or flight. So if you're just sitting down, then you're just containing it. It's just getting stuck. And then guess what happens with that? The one muscle that I always love to talk about is my favorite muscle, the psoas muscle. People are like, the psoas. The psoas, don't worry about it. I know where it is. But that muscle is kind of like in your stomach. So that fight, flight, or freeze, it contracts that muscle. And your diaphragm gets contracted and you're not breathing. So that's another reason. Get up, get moving. Don't allow that to sit in, and because it's going to be stored in your body right there, and that can cause pain in the back. Poor breathing habits, those kind of things, because it all gets stuck. You're holding it in your stomach. You have those gut instincts, so you're kind of holding it all right in there. So it's essential to get moving and loosen up and wiggle those hips and, do whatever you can to move. I have a couple other things to talk about, but I'll let it go back to you, Karin, and then we'll switch back and forth. Does that sound good?
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had Andres was asking about how fear affects our immune system, and that's a really good question, and that goes back to I may not have really emphasized how that heart-brain coherence is also part of what helps boost your immune system, as opposed to when we're in fear. all of our little cells, they close down because they're in protection mode. And I just happened to the other day, I love Bruce Lipton. He's a cell biologist, and I saw a quick little video that he was doing where he was talking about how, of course, he's always doing experiments. So he had this little group of cells that he divided into, put into different petri dishes, and in the one he put nutrients in this, some good nutrients, and in the other he put some sort of toxic stuff, and put them away for however long, and then of course took them out, and let's have a look and see what happened. So the petri dish with that got the nutrients, it was really cool because they could see how the cells, they moved towards the nutrients because, oh, this is good stuff, we need this, and the cells, they opened up so that they could feed and get all this in here, because the cells, they always need to feed. We need to always feed. We are like this huge conglomeration of cells. And this is why I love what Dr. Bruce Lipton does. He's learned from pretty much everything about life from cells. And he takes the microscopic aspect of what he's learned from the cells and brings it out into our macro world. And which is so cool. And then in the other dish with the toxin, he saw that the cells, they did the opposite. They moved away from the toxin and they closed down. And in that state, the cells, they can't do what they're supposed to do. So the immune system can't fight. It's closed down because we're in fight or flight or freeze. We got to do something else. The digestive tract closes down when we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode. We don't need our digestive tract when we had to fight or run or whatever it is that we have to do. So that shut down. All our central organs shut down. And that's not a good thing long term because now we have really integral parts, body parts that are shutting down, and it affects everything. So yeah, our immune system is definitely reduced when we are in fear, which is again another reason why when we can use our emotions as a barometer that there's something going on in the environment, let's change. Maybe we need to listen to something else, switch this off, switch off the news and put on some party music. And that gets me going in a millisecond. I'm up and dancing and doing my little thing. Or maybe it's the people that you're hanging around with. Maybe they're really super negative. Maybe they maybe they complain a lot and that type of thing. Maybe you need to switch who you're hanging out with. Okay, so right now you're not hanging out with a lot of people in person. We're doing a lot of virtual hanging out, and it's a lot easier to check out of there, right?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, and now you're unfollowed. I might have to unfriend this one. This is getting a little.
Yeah, exactly. Consider it practice for real life, okay? There are people you do need to unfollow in real life as well. So, but in reality, I mean, visualization, and I know again, that's something that's talked about a lot. However, the reason why it is so powerful is, well, because it works. And again, it goes back to the brain doesn't know the difference between something you pulling up and you are envisioning it, as you just experienced when we did the heart-brain coherence exercise, and something that otherwise is not happening. So, so again, whatever it is that you're focusing on is what's going to grow. And a lot of times we get stuck in, whether because we learn from the people around us growing up in our family or school or whatever kind of thing, that we focus a lot on complaining and all the things that are going wrong, and there's all this stuff wrong with you, and you're not perfect, and you should be smarter, and all those things. We've all had some level of those kinds of messages. And, and what happens is that the foundation is set, when we're young. And then the first 6 to 7 years, our brain is in this sponge mode, where in theta brain wavelength, where it's just taking in all the information that comes in from the outside, and it's very, very, very subtle. Let me tell you how subtle this is. There's a perfect example of, how when my son, he was probably 3 months old, we went flying somewhere. So I was holding him in my arms and I was looking at him and we were smiling at each other. And all of a sudden there was turbulence in the air, you know how that goes. And I saw his little face. He just stopped, smiling, and he was looking at me. He was scanning my face to see what my reaction was going to be. And I just kept smiling. I mean, I got a little whoop, but I just turned around and I smiled down at him the way I had been before. And immediately right there, he's back to smiling. He's like, okay. So this is how subtle these messages are, and they pick up on it. And it's incredibly powerful. So this is why when we have kids, that we have to really be, if we want to be conscious parents, we have to really be aware of what we're saying, what our body language is, what our tone of voice is, all those kinds of things. And especially now, because, kids are hearing things and they are getting nervous. So back to you, Caroline.
Yes, they absorb everything. It's like when you
Yes.
say a bad word, that's the quickest thing that they start talking. They didn't say any other words before, but you say a bad word, they're right on it.
That's a fun word.
I
Let's
always
repeat
love
it as
those
many
stories.
times.
Oh, yeah. Those are always funny stories that people tell. I love that.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about stress and immunity, and that's a great question that came up because that's part of what I wanted to talk about today too, is how stress affects our body and our immunity. So stress will release cortisol, and cortisol is great in the short term. That's what helps us, our muscles, everything, get into fast action. Like, we got to go and we got to go now. We are out of here, fight or flight, right? Or I'm going to kick your butt, get out of my face. So one or the other is going to happen, and that cortisol really helps us there. However, for long periods of time, it starts to release hormones. Let me check my notes and see what I wrote about this, because so you get that burst of energy, which I mentioned, and strength, and you can pick up a car and do all those things that you need to do because of cortisol, but as well as other hormones when those kind of things happen. But the negative effects are adrenal fatigue, suppressed thyroid function. So if that cortisol keeps going on, then you get those issues, and then imbalance in your blood sugar levels, abdominal fat, because now you're storing cortisol, and it's like, hey, we need all the carbs, we need all this, and we're storing it because we don't know what's going to happen. And then so that's what it does, and it suppresses the immune system. So then you're like, you noted that the cells kind of are containing themselves, and they're waiting till they can come out again. And so everything's constricted. So all your muscles, your whole body's constricting itself essentially for protection. You're in protection mode. So that definitely does impact our immune system and our ability to fight off viruses, internally, our cells' ability to fight off viruses, to fight off, fungus, bacteria, foreign invaders, parasites, so it plays a very important role. Our hormones do. So that's what we're talking about too. We're going to talk about this a little further. So I'll get on another page since we were talking about that. So this is the perfect addendum. Take time to laugh. Make jokes, lighten up, watch something funny, watch comedians, your favorite comedians, or baby videos, puppy videos, find America's Funniest Videos, anything, or, call a family member, a friend that makes you laugh, and, just take time to laugh and lighten up. And that can do a lot for us. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just laugh. And make jokes and crack jokes. So, we can't take things too seriously or ourselves too seriously. It's just not healthy. So that was my number 2. Take time to laugh.
Yeah. Well, I pretty much ran right through my 3. It's breathing, uh, getting into heart brain coherence by bringing up something that we love, appreciate, or feel gratitude for, and holding it and feeling it, and then visualization. Those are the three
Ooh,
biggies.
those are all powerful, Karin. Those are
Yeah.
fabulous. So,
Yeah.
my third one was to pet your favorite animal because animals are so great at helping us de-stress, or you know, they just know when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling ill, you're just not functioning right. There's so many studies done on what animals do for us as helping us live longer, being healthier. A dog helps you go for walks and get your exercise. Cats are known to snuggle right up next to you and purr, and that kind of calms you down. So hug, touch, pet your favorite animal. If you don't have one, watch animal videos. When you can, go to a friend, see if you can volunteer for at a shelter to do dog walking or help a neighbor or something walk their dog, or if you like animals. Some people are not animal people, and that's okay. But
Then you might want to stay
that's not
away.
your, yeah, then well, that's not your thing. That's why I have another option on here. If you can't go pet an animal right now, if you're not an animal person, there's another option here. So the other thing is to feel your feelings. Give yourself permission to be afraid. Give yourself permission to really feel those feelings. Because if you suppress them, they just end up somewhere in your body. And I usually find them. Or you do too, Karin. Sometimes they go ongoing, and then you're caught up in this feedback loop, this cycle that you can't get out of. So sometimes you need a little bit of help. And nothing wrong with that either, especially right now, when there's a lot going on, you can get caught up in those irrational fears and so on. So take time to feel it, journal it, allow yourself to say, it's okay that I feel afraid right now. It's okay that I feel stressed, and give yourself permission to feel that way. That's so essential. And really just feel into it. And where do you feel that in your body? Because we like to store things in our body, and it shows up later on as postural restrictions, disease, back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain. Not that all those emotions are just the primary cause of those. They're not. I mean, we have accidents and things like that, slip and falls, all kinds of things. It's called being human. Just being human, causes stress. uh, So yeah, just feel into yourself, feel those emotions. It's really so essential to do that.
Yeah. And also, one of the things that I like to tell people when it comes to that, because I love what you were just saying, and which I tell people to do too, and is that to remind yourself that everything is temporary. So, this stuff that doesn't feel good is not going to be there for very long. Oh, might not be there as not be as short-lived as we would like, but it is not going to stay there forever, especially if you allow those feelings to flow through you rather than get stuck, like Caroline was saying.
Right. So so then that leads us to, say you're still feeling stressed. You've gone through the gamut of what you can do to help yourself. You're still kind of stuck in a stress position, or you notice, you carry extra things. Like this past year, I noticed I was stressed and I was stress eating. And then I just couldn't seem to stop doing that little stress eating thing, or especially if chocolate was around. That's my weakness. So I would, lock into that. And so I'm like, okay, this has to stop. We need to figure this out. And so that led me to some supplementation, because sometimes we get caught up in a cycle, and we need a little additional help, a little additional support that we're not getting. Like the cortisol is in overdrive. When you're stressed, the cortisol is in overdrive. So I started taking the supplement that's called ACT. So it's adrenal, cortisol, thyroid, and stress support. So I'm getting all the herbs and things that are necessary, some iodine to support my thyroid, to help me deal with that cortisol, that overabundance of cortisol, being stressed. So I really have been doing quite well on that one. And I notice it when I don't take it, that, oh, I'm feeling a little stressed today. So I've been able to maintain my mood with it. And so I'll show you if you can see, the lighting's not great, but you can always get a link from me and see it online and do all your research on it, because it's documented, it's science-based. So it's really been essential and very helpful to me as well as other people. Karin, I believe you have a client that is doing quite well with it.
Yeah, so I have a couple of clients that they have a background with severe PTSD, because that they're working their way out of, and it's complex PTSD, and both of them are doing well on it. They've noticed that it helps them feel more even and calmed out, calmed out, and just when things happen, just life normally happens, that they don't get stirred up so much. So it's just a nice evening out and not feeling, on edge all the time.
Yeah, yeah, it just tones you down a bit. It also, I find I'm not stress eating. I don't have the need to do that. And there's a very real reason behind that. Is I was getting into the cortisol. So let me check out my notes and tell you what I wrote down about that. So normally when you have normal cortisol, it actually helps you reset from a fight or flight instance. But when it's overabundant, like you have all those other things, so you have increased, you're stimulated to eat more. You actually have the munchies. If you have too much cortisol, it actually causes you to stress eat. And then you're adding on weight, usually around your abdomen. Yes, I seen Andreas asked if cortisol is good in some way. Yes, it is, because it does help you return back to homeostasis in acute form. But if you have this ongoing stress all the time, like right now, I would say a lot of people are in a ongoing stress cycle, because we don't know when we're not going to be quarantined. We don't know when we're able to go back to work and resume life in a normal fashion. So there's a lot of unknowns right now. So I would say a lot of people are heightened. Their stress is heightened, and maybe it won't come down for a while. I really believe people are really heightened and overactive in their stress. So it is good. Cortisol is good and does have its functions, but like anything else, if it keeps on going on too long, it causes you issues. And so it can cause excess glucose, which causes you to store fat too. So as women, we don't like that.
Nobody needs extra fat.
Yeah.
Plus
exactly.
the high glucose levels, that's what causes then, become to either first pre-diabetic and then type 2 diabetic, which is a huge issue in the US these days.
Right, exactly. So, I'm talking about this in order to help people maintain their mood, their how they function, and also to maintain their health.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I have to be concerned about. So then I have a couple others that I want to talk about that might be helpful to you too, depending. So I have the cannabiquin. So there's a lot to be said about hemp oil out there. Now you see it at gas stations. It's on every corner. I see all CBD here, there, everywhere. I wouldn't always trust the source, If you're going into a gas station to get it, it's kind of like gas station sushi. It's probably not going to be good. You may end up in the bathroom, or maybe you'll just waste your money and it doesn't work or do anything for you. It's really about the quality of the product too. So I'm all for not wasting money. So we have this amazing supplement. I've been taking this as well on occasion. The lighting's not great there, but it's called cannabiquin, and it's a blend of a full spectrum hemp oil and black cumin seed oil. And black cumin seed oil is well documented. They wrote about it in the pyramids. The Egyptians have so much said about black cumin seed. It's amazing. So they pair in this product, it's paired together, the black cumin seed and the full spectrum hemp. So anytime you're looking for a hemp product, a CBD oil specifically, you want to make sure it's full spectrum because that's the whole plant essentially. So you're not missing out on anything. They're not just taking out one primary ingredient from a plant and saying, oh, here you go. It's just amazing. So this cannabiquin really helps your cardiovascular system. It helps you support your memory, your cognition, your attention span, also cardiovascular system, gastric tone too. So people with IBS and they're in this fight or flight, I would say this could be potentially helpful for them. And I find it helpful myself. It balances your emotions. People have noted they've gotten the best sleep in their life. So I want to talk about that. And Karin, could you share your experiences with it too?
Yeah, so I had some people that also, of course, a lot of stressed out people, and obviously that's a lot of who I work with. So I gave somebody, some samples, and they were saying that they took two. I gave them three, so the person took two in a row, and then waited a week and took another one, and they noticed like, oh yeah, they were going through their workday, feeling a little better, and not so jacked up, and was better able to think and with the cognitive functioning. And then waited, and then a week later took it, as like, it's probably not going to do anything, and then noticed again that they were interacting more better. They were being more outgoing and social with their coworkers, where they've been, again, with the fight or flight from the stress, had been holding back and holding in. So was able to receive compliments where before she wouldn't have. And so that was a really nice testimony of how it helped that person.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just love that. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you just need a little thing to help you, get you off that edge of being on edge. And this one's just amazing. Also, one thing I wrote down that I thought was really interesting, and I never noticed before about it, is it causes normal bronchial dilation. So the whole breath, the breathing again, you have normal bronchodilation. So you're breathing normally. So it helps take down those stress levels, get you back into homeostasis, being, more in control and more level with your emotions. And then it helps you breathe. How cool.
Yeah, we definitely like to breathe.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have one more. It's actually called Bliss. It's an anti-stress formula, and I've
I love it
taken this
already.
one before. Yeah. It's really been quite helpful, and like these things kick in about 15 minutes. You're like, oh, okay, I'm good. And the Bliss is an anti-stress formula. It supports your cognitive performance because when you're stressed, your mind's clouded, and it's hard to focus and function on what you need to do at hand, the task at hand. And so the Bliss is a special blend of adaptogenic herbs, which I've been reading a lot about in various sources. So rhodiola, let's see, I'll go passion
L-theanine?
fruit. What's that?
Does that have L-theanine?
Oh yeah, L-theanine in there.
Yeah.
That one's really great because it kind of just levels out your mood, helps the GABA happen in your brain. This has passion fruit, ashwagandha. I love saying that one. That one's fun. Ashwagandha. Well, all these herbs, what they do is they level you out. So if you're low, it brings it back up to normal. If you're high, it brings it back down. And then you don't deal with the drowsiness effects of, say some products, some different things you could take. Or if you're dealing with like anti-anxiety medicine, they have a whole host of side effects like dry mouth. It inhibits a lot of different things, or inhibits your mood into where you're just kind of walking around like a zombie. You don't have any highs, you don't have any lows. So sometimes those are necessary. Sometimes, for the person it's necessary. And, I don't want to poo-poo it, but if there's a way in which you can help yourself naturally and maybe, try a supplement first and get yourself, at a better level, then I would say try that and see how you feel and go from there, or talk to Karn, get a massage. There's so many natural ways to help yourself deal with stress and stressful situations that, could really be of a huge benefit to you.
And lifelong. I mean, because what happens is that these kinds of things become lifelong tools, and the releases that come from doing the EMDR work with me and the myofascial release with Caroline, those are literally things that our body has stored dysfunctionally in the brain and in the body that are released, that no longer hold you back. So these kinds of things are life altering. And then the supplements and exercises and breathing and the heart brain coherence, those are all tools that we need to use so that we can create this buffer. And again, like I was talking about, becoming the driver of your emotions and your emotional physical health.
Right, exactly. Now, Karn, is it possible to open this up to where people can talk to us? Or I wasn't sure.
No, it has to be in the chat box there. But I was gonna say, I read what you wrote, Stephanie, that after breaking up with somebody, that in 2 weeks you lost 8 pounds, and you know what? I had the same experience with my divorce. That after getting divorced, that I dropped something like 25 pounds, and so yeah, it was quite incredible. So I think the key keeping
Just that stress and cortisol, it actually puts weight on you. I think it's that fight or flight. It's your body in preparation to, okay, we may not be able to eat. We may not be able to drink or have what we need. So let's hang on to this. And, let's fuel up even more. Okay, add in more carbs, add in more things so that we can survive. I think that's really what that reptilian brain, your body's doing. So we can survive any situation.
Yeah, and I love the comment from Andres that that prevention is the best key. I mean, if we can keep our little cells healthy and functioning and happy little cells, then that they don't have to go through the whole trauma of being ripped apart and filled with toxins and whatnot. We want to keep our little cells happy because that keeps the rest of us happy, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to go in and do repair and go to the doctors and all the painful, invasive, expensive things they do to you. Like, no, ain't nobody got time for that.
No, prevention is key. I like that he mentioned that, because that's my whole premise, is an ounce of prevention. It saves you a lot of money.
Yeah. And I love, yeah.
Just maintaining your overall health and happiness. It just goes so much farther.
Yeah. Yeah. So Stephanie was saying, learn how to listen to your body. Our body is always, that is our wisdom. Not that we can't always listen to our head, because sometimes our head, it's got some other kinds of agenda that are not ours. Because many times our beliefs and our values and such are not necessarily really ours. It's what was implanted and what we're hypnotized to believe in when we were little, our brains were these sponges. So it's good to get to the place where you start to stop and evaluate, and pay attention to what your body's. Caroline was saying that too. Where in your body are you feeling? Because I find when I'm doing EMDR, it is so interesting. I'm always asking, okay, where in your body do you feel this? Where do you feel this? Where do you feel this? And it will change. It might be in their throat. It might be in their heart. It might be in their gut. And where you feel it, it's very much related to what all is going on. So many times when people, they feel it in their throat, then it's oftentimes some sort of thing where they felt like they weren't being heard, where they weren't able to communicate. When they feel it in their heart and the chest area, many times that has to do with love and rejection. When they feel it in their solar plexus, then it's usually something about their confidence or not feeling confident. It's in the stomach. It has to do with, being humiliated or feeling vulnerable. So, and it travels all through, not just in those areas, but all over the place. So our body is truly I think of it that if we can keep it as a fine-tuned instrument, it will truly take us through life in such a much better way.
Oh yeah, Karen. Actually, I use the analogy that your body is like your car. So you need to change the oil regularly. Put in good oil. Don't use the junk oil. So that's like putting in good food in your body. So, eating right, staying healthy, being active. Your body's a machine, so it needs to move.
Yep.
It really actually needs to move. Otherwise, you
Yep.
start getting stuck and everything starts adhering and contracting together. You notice that kind of in older people, if they're not moving around as much, their muscles atrophy and they're not as able to get up as quickly. Everything gets stuck together and adhered and so on. So we got to stay physically active and keep moving and eating the right things, putting the right things in our body and in our mind, and just keep going, be that lighthouse for other people.
Yeah. And I want to just say, when you mentioned about older people, that I believe that is another uh, false belief that we've been given, that when you get older, you just fall apart and then you don't do as much, or vice versa. Oh, I can't do that because I'm getting older, or I'm this age or whatever. And that is so not true. When you believe that, you start doing it. So many people, they get older and then they stop being physically active. They stop going out and walking. They stop bicycling and going to the gym and that kind of thing. And that's when the body starts to fall apart, as well as the mind. So again, it's always a good idea to recheck in. Hey, does this belief, or does this idea really benefit me, or does it not? So yeah, I don't believe in getting old at all. So I'm not getting old. That's it. I'm getting older, but I'm not going to get old.
I agree. I'm like, I'm staying young and healthy. The heck with all that.
That's right. That's right.
So maybe we should open this up to any questions. So if anybody has any questions, please post in the chat, and we'll answer those as needed. And also I'd like to ask Karin. So Karin, can you do EMDR on Zoom so somebody can be anywhere in the country and be able to take you up on your services?
I actually can, and I have, and getting the same results as I do in person, which is really cool.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so exciting because I
Yeah.
can refer you to anyone now.
There you go. Just like that.
Right. And then also, one of those things about being physically active, as I was talking about, I'll be taking my skills online. So anyone will be able to work with me too, because I can use this lovely app called Zoom. And that's what I'll be doing as well.
That is so super exciting. And for those people who are spending a lot of time together with their significant other, and they maybe found that maybe we're not getting along as well as we would like to, I do have a self-guided online program that is available now. So if you know somebody, or yeah, that is something, you can find that on my website, insightscounselingcenter.com. So yeah. And so do you have the date for when you are doing your next myofascial online thing?
Ooh, well, I have the plans of having it set up next week to be able to do group events or also private sessions. So that's my goal. If you'd like a mini session, I'm offering those as a complimentary session right now, as a small mini session, and see how it goes.
All right.
Okay, let's look at the chat box.
Okay.
Let's see.
I don't see any questions right now.
Right. Oh, and I think Stephanie put, definitely learned I need to listen to my body again more. And yeah. I mean, you just have to keep checking in. And sometimes we get so busy and wrapped up in things that we forget to check in with our body. We're just going through the motions. So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then, and Sue says the reminder to breathe. Oh yeah. And Andrea says around the country. Yeah, heck no. As long as you have the internet and you can, or phone, and can tune into Zoom, right? It can happen.
That's right. Yeah. And with the breathing, reminders to breathe, like Sue was saying, with some people, I will actually tell them to, set a timer for, maybe every 30 minutes or every hour to just take a minute, to literally 30 to 60 seconds, to do a couple of deep breaths until that becomes something that is part of your just how you live your life.
Yes, and that's great. Just little reminders, little alarms, whatever you need to do. Sometimes maybe on your bathroom mirror, just write with a marker or lipstick or something saying breathe. Just breathe.
Exactly.
I'm going to list the supplements in the chat room that I talked about, because you can get any of those from Karin or myself. And if you have any questions related to those supplements, we are happy to answer that or give you a link and give you further information. Oh gosh, you can read so much about them. I enjoy doing that. I don't know if everybody else does, but I geek out on that. I'm like, ooh, what else can I read?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll put those in the chat room for everybody if you have any interest or you want to check those out or maybe a sample. So let us know.
Thank you, Sue. All right. Okay, the CBD program supplement. Yeah, the cannabiquin is excellent. So.
Oh yeah, and Mary, I can email you a link on that too, or give you a call after this if you'd like. So.
All right. Yeah. So cannabiquin, TLS-Ax, and Bliss are the 3 products that we talked about today. So if there isn't anything else, then we will go ahead and wrap up. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy quarantine schedules and jumping on here. Yeah, do you have any closing statements?
Well, I'd say let us know how this helped you. If there's ways we can, other things you'd like us to talk about. Karin's a wealth of information on brain functions, emotion body. I just love talking to her. And if you have any questions regarding your body, how you feel, any things you can do to help yourself. Right now, since you can't physically get a massage, this physical distancing thing is going on. I can give you one like this. Here you go. I'm massaging everybody.
I feel so good.
So if you have any questions related to that or your body or anything, just let me know. I'm happy to help.
And actually, starting this evening at 7 p.m. every day on the Insights Counseling Center Facebook page, I'm going to be doing a short nightly meditation just to help raise the frequency here and get people into this heart-brain coherence so we can keep boosting our immune system and kick this virus in the ass and get this over with. All right.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, because with the HeartMath Institute, I just lost the name there for a minute. They have actually done studies, and they have this global consciousness initiative that when people get together, at the same time in different places and meditate or pray or whatever, that does it literally changed things in the area that you are. They have seen, reductions in crime rates and ER visits and all that. So I figure, well, what better time than now to go ahead and do this? So that's going to be my contribution. If you want to jump on there every night at 7 p.m. on the Insights Counseling Center Facebook page, you'll see me and we'll meditate together.
Oh, awesome. That's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to do. And meditation is so great.
It is.
All right. So I think that's a wrap, right?
Yes. All right. You have a fabulous rest of your evening, and maybe I'll see you on Insight's Facebook page.
Yeah. Thank you all for being here again, and have a great evening.
Bye.
Bye.